Are you thinking about moving to Broomfield, Colorado in 2026? In this video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know in terms of what that looks like. The cost of living, what homes actually cost, the best neighborhoods, the pros and cons, and who I really think this neighborhood is ultimately a good fit for. Hi, my name is 𝐃𝐈𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐓. I am your Colorado realtor. I help and serve clients just like you each and every day, reaching out to me from this incredible platform, YouTube. If you're looking to ultimately buy, sell, or even relocate to Broomfield or the surrounding cities, I am your go-to girl. Reach out to me. My info is below. I would love to help you. Where exactly is Broomfield? Broomfield is located right in between Denver and Boulder, and that's honestly one of its biggest advantages. You're about 20 to 25 minutes to either city, depending on traffic, which makes this a really popular spot for people who work in Denver or Boulder, but don't necessarily want to live in either one. A lot of people describe Broomfield as one of kind of a middle ground area. You're close to everything, but you're not ideally in the middle of the chaos. So you're definitely on the outskirts and a very tucked away suburb. Cost of living. All right, let's talk about one of the biggest questions. Are you able to afford living here? Cost of living in Broomfield. Broomfield is not cheap, but it's also not as expensive as Boulder, so there's a perk. As of 2026, home prices here are typically in the range from about $550,000 up to $650,000, depending on neighborhood and the type of home. If you're ideally going to be renting for the first year, 6 months, you're probably looking at somewhere in between $2,000 to $2,800 a month. Now, one thing I always tell people is Broomfield sits in a kind of a middle zone, if you will. It's more affordable than Boulder, but in some cases it can be just as expensive as certain parts of Denver, depending on Denver suburbs specific, if you're in just the heart of the city. So it's not always going to be, and it's not a budget option. It is definitely a strategic option depending on how you play the game of the negotiation. Let's talk about neighborhoods in Broomfield, because this is where things really start to vary. If you're looking for more of a family-friendly area with newer homes, places like the Broadlands is really tucked away, nice, beautiful. Highlights of the foothills, the mountains, as well as Anthem Highlands, which are super popular. You'll find a lot of master planned communities, parks, and newer construction the more north you get when you are looking at Broomfield on a map. And if you're trying to be a little bit more budget conscious, but still sit in Broomfield specifically, there are older parts of Broomfield closer to like the center of town where you can sometimes find just better value. And then you've got areas like Baseline, which is close to Boulder, which is a newer development that's still growing. So if you like the idea of getting into a newer area early and really able to grow with a city, that's definitely one place to keep your eye on. Pros about living in Broomfield is number one, location. Being between Denver and Boulder, it's a huge advantage, and it lets you have ample access to going up to the foothills, the mountains, as well as summer and winter sports up on the hill. Newer homes and communities for number two. A lot of Broomfield has been developed more recently, so you're getting much more modern layouts, and the neighborhoods just feel a little bit more elevated than homes that were typically built in the 1980s to the 1990s. Number three, access to the outdoors. You're still very close to the mountains, hiking, biking, and everything Colorado is known for, while still being in kind of a tucked away city, suburb area. And number four, it's quieter than Denver. So if you want some space and a place to kind of go at a slower pace, this can really ideally be a good fit. Now let's talk about cons. This is where it definitely can be and get really real for people. Prices are definitely going up, and Broomfield is just getting more expensive, and that can definitely surprise some buyers. So just be more prepared for a more competitive market than neighboring cities like Westminster, parts of Erie, and even Thornton. If you're looking for nightlife, crazy nightlife, pop-in clubs, Broomfield's not for you. I would look in areas like Westminster or even Denver. Number three, knowing that traffic can just get really backed up during high peak areas, high peak times, like departing from work and just rush hour in general. Be prepared for that, because it definitely does feel like a bottleneck really relying on those major highways to get west and east, US 36, and then possibly even backups on E470. So just be prepared for that and know kind of your commute standpoint when it comes to rush hour. Jobs and commuting. From a work standpoint, Broomfield is actually in a really, really strong position in comparison to neighboring cities. You've got easy access to job centers in both Denver and Boulder, and there are also tech and business hubs nearby. So a lot of people who live here either work remotely or have one person commuting to and from work, like Denver and to the other side, Boulder. So just know this location makes that definitely doable and attainable. In terms of lifestyle, Broomfield is definitely more suburban, it's quieter, it's more spread out, and definitely more family oriented and community driven, and you could just feel that. At the same time, you're still close enough to Denver that you can go out and do all the events that Denver offers, go out on the scene for restaurants or even like a game night, and then come back to a quieter home base, if you will. Ideally, Broomfield is filled with a ton of families, people relocating from out of state, a lot of remote workers, and buyers who potentially want a newer home, but even maybe got priced out of Boulder. I hate to say it, but it happens all the time. It's also a really good place for people who want like a little bit of balance, not too urban, not too far out, but kind of tucked away, very central. Who is it not for? On the flip side, if you want a super walkable city, lifestyle, a lot of nightlife, or you're trying to buy on a really tight budget, Broomfield ideally may just not be a good fit for you. Is it a good idea in 2026? Broomfield is a great idea and a good buy in 2026, and it is a strong market. In my opinion, it's always going to be a strong option. It not only has favorable factors that will never move, like location, it's really accessible to Boulder and Denver. Those are things that we just cannot change about Broomfield specifically. The market is give or take, but it still stands strong. It's not the most affordable option, and it may not be the most cheap option either, but just know from a long-term financial perspective, it is constantly seeing a return on its investment, and typically you're seeing about 5% of compounding interest if you're buying in that general area. So if you're thinking about moving to Broomfield or anywhere in the Denver area, I'm 𝐃𝐈𝐑𝐄𝐂𝐓. I help people relocate here all of the time, reaching out to me from YouTube, this incredible platform. So if you have questions, need help figuring out the right area, or want to start potentially looking at homes, just getting really an understanding of Colorado, feel free to reach out, call, text, email me. My info's down below. I am so happy that you're here. And if you found this video helpful, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe. I post videos weekly about living in Denver, everything that Denver entails, and the not so pretty side as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye, guys.